The following program is not a cult initiation type of deal. It is simply a gathering of like-minded individuals blocking out their immediate surroundings while engaging their new friends in contemplative thought. For a mere $5 per month, you will be recognized by the group for your significance in society. Outsiders are not shunned per se. However, we cannot ignore the fact that they are obviously less desirable persons than those who... Okay, fine. It's kinda a cult. What's with all the negative connotations around the word cult? Nobody judged you when you signed up for the cult of Netflix, now did they? Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I'm your host, Joe Neerman, a.k.a. Good Lawgic. I apologize for the late start. Those of you who found me over on Locals at goodlogic.locals.com. That's goodlogic.locals.com. Those of you followed there, probably well aware of the fact that I was over at Nina Infinity's tonight doing what I do, which means basically blabbing on and on. So, and I was about, I want to say a half hour into the show when I realized I didn't set up a stream yet. I have a whole bunch of topics I want to cover. Like a whole bunch. Crazy bunch. Big bunch of topics to cover. I'm not sure where I'm going to be making that stream. And then, so I finished there. I ran till like a little after 10. And sure enough, it was like 10:30 before I even started setting anything up. So put together an ad hoc type of thumbnail, set this thing up for 11:15. There you go. That's the story. I'm sticking to it. Don't prove it's not true. Probably because it is. It is true. It's pretty good breakdown as to how my night's gone so far. Which I had a lot of fun over there. She's great. It's great. But yeah, we're behind. So we should get moving. Let's catch up. First things first, got a whole bunch of stories to share with you here. Whole bunch of stories that I wanted to share with you. Let's do that. Let's start with that. Start with some of that. All right. Climate activists spray Stonehenge. Yes, Stonehenge. Remember that big pile of rocks? And no one can actually figure out how they got the way they got, what they got, what the deal is. What's the deal with Stonehenge? No one really knows. Well, climate activists spray Stonehenge with orange powder, demanding an end to fossil fuels in the UK. That's their demands. So let's just, in case I want to unpack this for you. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this and these climate folk. But I just want to point out, they're destroying a natural wonder. These are folks who are destroying a natural wonder. Right? I mean, this is pretty... they're destroying a natural wonder because they're bothered that that there are certain folks who are destroying the earth. That's what they're doing. This is so what do they come up with? You know how we can like stop folks from destroying the earth? Is if we go to like the earth and destroy part of it. This is just astonishing. It's like, wow. How lacking in self-awareness can anyone be?
I saw this and I just couldn't even believe it. I was just like, I mean, I could believe it. I mean, let's face it, the left is. If you ever need more evidence that the left is basically on crack cocaine, I give you Exhibit 438. Climate activists spray Stonehenge with orange powder demanding an end to fossil fuels. There you go. That's how you're saving the earth. You're totally saving the earth. The earth is totally saved now. We were screwed before you brought out the orange spray. Look, and if you want to go with purple spray, that never would have worked. That never would have worked. Thank God this time they were like, okay, no, guys, this is one that calls for the orange spray. Don't start using none of the blue spray. No, we need the orange friggin' spray. Unbelievable. All right. That's all I gotta say about that. That's really all that's all I gotta say about that. But do needs call to attention. Certain events that have been going on in my chat specifically. First one being Ella hitting up with 5, count them, 5 Good Lawgic memberships. Excuse me. Yes, Good Lawgic, 5 new members of the following. 5, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 new members of the following. Who are these 5? Some of you followers are probably like, oh my gosh, who's here now? I don't even know. Who's here? I'm going to tell you. You got Matt V. Brought him on over. Red Rovered him. He's Red Rover. Call Eric Cush right over. There you go. Pitchlock, T. Renee, and let's go Brandon. All gifted courtesy of Ella. Welcome to the following, Ella. Sorry. Well, please acknowledge Ella's fine gift and welcome to the following, you 5 people. The following is not at all a cult. Type of cult. Everyone knows that. In addition, we had the queen of recruitment. Yeah, she's here too. I saw your queen of recruitment, Bella Stella, gifting 10 Good Lawgic memberships, 10 new followers. Who do we got? That would include Dan, American Dreamer. That's what I am. American Dreamer. Sorry. Purple AJ. Hey, Purple AJ been here a long time. I don't see Purple AJ getting gifted that often. I appreciate the work you did with that, Bella Stella. Driver. I didn't set up locals. Damn it, Viola. I'm sorry. I've been busy. What is happening here? This thing didn't even publish? Local's been kind of annoying. I'm going to accept responsibility for it because that's the kind of guy I am. But I apologize to you, Viola, for not. I had created that link. And I was like, I think I forgot to take care of the gifting. But let me go back to Bella Stella here. Who gifted 10 folks here. People might have forgotten that. But I did set up goodlawgic.local.com. I set that up over there. So 10 people who Bella Stella brought into the following include, not limited to, Dan, American Dreamer, Purple AJ, Driver, Joseph Lawson, Linfrey, Penny, Echo 2, Papa 2, Trooper Dog, and Sultran. All of them, I think I mentioned Penny. I think so. If I didn't, Penny too. Welcome to the following. The following is not a cult. Type of cult. Joe, yours truly, is not the leader of the following. Let's say this one more time. Joe is not the leader of the following. Okay? What is the following? Because some of these folks here, they might be new. They're like, I don't even know what the following is. What the heck happened here? what does that even mean? I'm part of a following. I don't even know what what does that mean? Like, does that mean? As I explained, it's not at all a cult. I'm gonna just start with that. I also want to welcome CJR 902, who was brought in here courtesy of Mimsy. Thank you, Mimsy. That's very kind. That's very kind. So, what is it? What is it? What exactly is it? Well, okay, it's basically a gathering of like-minded individuals who are interested in greater personal growth. I mean, what could be more wholesome than that? You know, there's no spaceships, none. You hear any zzz, zzz, zzz. That's some other group. Okay, that's not us. Okay, we're not going up to some great moon landing in the sky there's no Kool-Aid, there's no mandatory tracks. There's permitted tracksuits, copyright pending, nothing mandatory. Okay, you don't have to. They're highly recommended, but you don't have to wear tracksuits. There's no goat sacrifices, no squirrel mutilations, no dancing around bonfires in the middle of a forest, shucking off your clothing to a beat of a tom-tom, no throwing virgins into volcanoes, no goat heads on sticks, no sleeping out in tents with all the flaps zipped in weird directions so that you're like, no matter which way you push, I can't get out of here. No recreating visitations to the womb. Okay, it's not at all a cult type of cult. Stop saying it is. For the love of God, people get scared. I understand. I don't want to be part of it. I wouldn't even be associated with something. I'm just a host. I'm a host, and it's not at all a cult type of cult. So, welcome to the following. So glad to have you. Hey, Joe, how you been? Story time. I am not on the wrong microphone. Why is everyone saying this? I gotta listen now. Now I gotta listen. I gotta listen. Now I gotta listen. I am on the wrong freaking microphone. Damn it. I gotta listen. I don't know. I gotta listen. Why is it doing that? I don't know. I gotta listen. Why is it doing that? Oh, now it's good. I don't know. Now it's good. Now it's good. Now it's good. Thank God. Thank God. It's not a cult. I don't know. Yo, Joe, don't have time to make shorts these days. Podcasts much faster. Give your dozens of listeners a shout out. Hey, podcast folks. I don't even know what to make of this podcast thing. I saw you've been sharing. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that is. It's just better snacks than the Moonies. Well, hopefully. Good Lawgic. Have you talked to Andrew Wilson from the Crucible yet? Come on, peeps. 600 watching and only 100 likes. Hit the freaking like. What's my number? What are my numbers at? What are my numbers at? 98,919. Ooh, almost at 99,000. I think we can get there. Look at this. I'm not making that up. That's live. That's right now. 98,919. If you're watching now and you can hit like and follow, you can push me up to 99K tonight. Tonight we're gonna party like it's 1999. We will. I don't really care about the 100,000. I really want to get to 99. Another boomer moment for the time. It's not my fault. I can prove I made a joke. I made a joke on X. Joe liked it, and someone replied, "Who's Joe?" We laughed and laughed.
That's funny. That's pretty funny. That's funny. All right. Got lots to cover. Let's get moving. Speaking of X, I need to share this guy. I talked about this guy the other night. I don't know. I can't. Trenis. Here's why. Trenis Evans following. Remember when I told you I served crooked Judge Merchan and corrupt Alvin Bragg? Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals answered by docketing the case. That's not an answer. They don't answer. They just docket cases. That's like saying I went to a soda machine and put in the money, and the soda machine answered by dropping a soda down in the slot at the bottom. What the hell does that even friggin' mean? Fifth Circuit answered by docketing the case. Oh, really? Is that what happened? It's unbelievable. I went down to my fridge and I opened the fridge door, and the fridge answered by turning the light on. That's what happened. That's how the fridge answered. Fridge answered by turning the light on. Unbelievable. This guy is just he's a piece of work. He's a piece of work here. So, and I only came upon this because so many people tag me, because people know I sue Judge Merchan. They see this guy, and I think that's why he bugs me so much. It's like I actually am suing Judge Merchan, and this dude is just engaged in lunacy, writes complete lunacy, and it gets like so excited about it. And this thing is being shared around enough. It's got look at this. 2,500 freaking likes. Unbelievable. 2,500 likes for something that is crap, meaningless, utter crap, lies, crap, could not possibly in any world ever have any impact on anything other than just bam, dismissed. Bam, dismissed. 10 days ago, this guy filed in the Supreme Court. Whatever happened to that? Oh, I don't know. All of a sudden now we're filing the Fifth Circuit. I don't know what the hell the guy's even talking about. Nothing he says makes any sense at all. Nothing at all. And it's like, and people see this guy, and it's like, oh yeah, there's two people out there who are going after Judge Merchan. It's good Lawgic and Trenis Evans. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? 2,500 likes. No, I'm going to tell you something. When I looked at this before, there was like 400 likes. I was pissed off. 2,500 likes for this idiocy. I mean, it doesn't even it makes no sense. It's like if he wrote it, if he wrote it in Klingon, it would make as much sense as it is in English. Okay? If he wrote it in Klingon and filed it with the Federation Council, filing complaining against Judge Merchan, just as effective. This is as effective as I wrote to someone, as AOC's new Green Deal if she wrote it in crayon. It means literally these are not legal terms. It's not English. It doesn't make any sense. There's no jurisdiction. There's no nothing. There's no basis for him to have a lawsuit. There's literally absolutely nothing. There is zero chance that anything ever will happen from this BS crap, and he knows it because even if he's a deranged lunatic, which I'm fairly certain he is, but this deranged lunatic, that if he would actually, why is it that it didn't work in the Supreme Court? You filed there 10 days ago. Who the hell files in the Supreme Court and then 10 days later is on the same issue going to the Fifth Circuit Court? I don't know what the hell he's talking about. No one knows what he's talking about. But when you go to a clerk and you give money, you file something, you know what they do? Docket it. You know what happens 10 minutes after they docket it? They say, what the hell is this pile of crap? Someone in the office there looks at it and is like, I don't know what the hell I don't know what to make out of this. This is like nonsense. It's not English. File complaint, federal court, Texas. Sir Judge Merchan, DA Alvin Bragg. file a docket in the Fifth Circuit. What does that mean? How do you go to the federal court of Texas and then go to the Fifth Circuit? What does that mean? This doesn't even mean anything. I don't even know what that even means. Already parents seeking stay of July 11 sentencing based on unconstitutional disenfranchised voters and election interference. Absolutely less than zero chance that happens. More likely he'll actually get hit with sanctions for wrongful, for just completely baseless filings. Lunatic. And building hopes of people. And this is what bothers me, because we saw this by the election when everyone's trying to expose the corruption in 2020, and so many shysters like this complete and total jackass shyster who's crap, he literally writes crap. It's like people see it, then build their hopes up on it, then he falls, and then people are like, why should I follow? Oh, everyone here is a shyster. Nothing's going to work. And then people start thinking it's because the system's corrupt. No, it's because this guy is corrupt. This guy is corrupt. I mean, yeah, I don't deny the fact that there are a lot of systems we have that we got real problems with them, with the integrity of those systems. I'm not denying that. I'm simply saying whatever this guy does is not evidence of anything other than the fact that he's a nincompoop. And that sometimes a nincompoop can manage to fool 2,500 people into giving him a stupid like. Unbelievable. And I tried being polite about this. Ready and rare to go for Supreme Court. Oh yeah, the Supreme Court's going to take you, buddy. Oh, you're going to be there in 10 minutes. Let's look at some of his filings here. Oh, Western United States District Court, Western District of Texas. This is what you filed in. This is what you filed in the circuit court, in the Fifth Circuit. Something that says, I don't even know what the hell this is. Miscellaneous docket number. Oh, this is when he filed in the district court. Okay, fine. What is? Saying you have to come in here, that we want to be able to elect our president, and you're interfering with our elections. That doesn't mean anything. June 13, United States Court of Appeal. Dear Mr. Evans, we docketed this appeal as shown above. Wow. God. They're also saying we cannot accept motions submitted under the federal rules of civil procedure. I'll bring this up larger so y'all can see it. This idiocy. Son of a bitch. We can address only those documents the court directs you to file or proper motions filed in support of the appeal. Meaning you have no grounds to be here. Idiot. 2,500 likes. Oh, we're going to go. We're going to go. Oh, we're going to go. Utter grifter. Total grifter. Really gets me angry. Gets me so freaking furious. I don't think anything I've ever posted that got 2,500 likes. It's so ridiculous. 2,500 likes of this jackass. I don't know how. How does that happen? 15,000 followers. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. This is what I wrote. This is me. This is me trying to be. Perhaps a little too clever. This is what I wrote in response to him. You filed in Supreme Court only 10 days ago. Unusual to see someone running so passionately into court every other day. All these folks counting on you. Getting results is tough. Rougher than it looks. Innovative applications get rejected for a myriad of reasons. Trenis needs your support. Every penny counts. Really hope my message gets through. Any of you, apparently a lot of people miss the point. Because if you actually read what I'm writing here, which I thought was not really that hard to see, it is Y-O-U-R-E. New word A. New word G-R-I-F-T-E-R. Really hope that gets through. No. It's unbelievable. Dude pissed me off. Trenis Evans. Yes, he's a Kraken. Exactly. He's a Kraken. He's the Kraken. He's being the Kraken's being unleashed. Am I supposed to know who Andrew the Crucible is? Someone referenced this earlier, and I was like, I don't know who that is. Andrew. But then again, I didn't know who Angry Cops was, and I showed up on his show, and then I was like, oh, the guy's got 1 million followers. All right, I start doing a Google search. People see him. He's got 99,000 followers on YouTube. Oh, wow, he's 200 away. Wow. I don't know anything about this guy. No. 66 videos. That's quick work. All right. So there you go. That was my thoughts on that. Try to cover recent events with Nick yesterday's stream, leaked documents. Recent events, last night's stream, leaked documents. Okay. All right. Fine. Questions? What are your questions? What are your questions? Give me your questions. What are your questions? What do you want me to talk about? The CHS report, which identifies his 5 kids and names them out, that's been spread all over the internet. Kids ranging in age between 16 and 6. What do you want me to talk about? I don't even want to click it. I don't even want to click it. I don't even want to click it. Fine, I'll click it. If it's is it clickable? Did you give me something clickable there? Oh, I gotta copy and paste it. This is what I'll tell you, okay? I'm not spending more than 120 seconds talking about Nick tonight, okay? Those of you who are unaware, he has 5 children ranging in age between the ages of 16 and 6. 3 of them are teenagers. 2 of them are not. His kids have been taken away from him. Obstruction of official proceeding, entering remaining. It's funny. Evans. Wait. This is. I think so. I think he was one of the J10, J6 folks. So that's probably that. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so wrapping up here because I only got 90 seconds left now. Most of you know Nick Recato was arrested, indicted and had his house searched and for drugs, and he and his wife are facing charges of having in excess of 26 grams of coke in his house. And his kids were taken away. He's been off the air most of the time. Did a show last night, first YouTube show that he's done in several weeks, and basically was explaining what he's planning on doing going forward. Didn't really talk very much about the entire incident, or called out a few people who he basically thought were doing a piss poor job in covering it, and supposedly confirmed documents that people were unsure of, which was a CHS Child Health Services report. And the reason that people are very attuned to this report is that the report indicates that Child Health Services claims that they tested the hair of the 5 children and The oldest child, 16-year-old. I think there's a 13-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 6-year-old. So the oldest three, all clean, no drugs. Fifth child, 6-year-old, all clean, no drugs at all. The fourth child, the 9-year-old, supposedly has 5,000, I don't know, tested at something like 5,000, I don't even know what, which is like an inordinately high level of cocaine on the 9-year-old. So the facts we have are 3 teenagers in a house that has coke. None of them have any access or touching or anything related to the coke. The youngest has no access. And the 9-year-old is testing as if they're basically a habitual cocaine user. So you can draw whatever conclusions you want from that. I was not there. I don't know what happened. I also know that Nick claims that the test was flawed. It was a false positive. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Maybe he said to the 3 teenagers, you can't have any, or he managed to keep them away, didn't manage to keep the 9-year-old away. I don't know. I do know this. If he's giving his kids cocaine, or even not giving them, but enabling them to access cocaine, I think that he is a scummy human being who should spend the rest of his life in jail every night getting basically molested by some 400-pound dude with leprosy. And that's where he should spend the rest of his life. If that's what happened. Okay? So that's inexcusable. I have no idea what happened. I don't know anyone who knows what happened. All I know is this is what the report says, this is what Nick says. And you can do with that whatever. My speculation is no better than anyone else's beyond that. So there you go. Okay. You've not experienced the law until you've read it in the original Klingon dialect. Kapla! Kapla! That was pretty funny. Don't need a review of Nick's leaked documents. I'm definitely not going through them. I put the link in locals. I pulled it up. Joe, you don't need to discuss it. Just do you, and people just needs to respect it. I think I covered it in 2 minutes or less. So Digger 1776 got spaceship ready in Tunnel 48. Awesome. Thank you for the support, B-Star. That's very kind of you. And Spuds gifting 5 good Lawgic memberships. I don't know if I'm going to get him. I don't know if I'm going to get him. I'm not sure I'm going to get him, Spuds. I might have missed him. It's possible I missed him, and I apologize if I did. Oh, there they go. 5 people brought in. A Lucas got in here. Beautiful. Sunny Shine. Tom Fitton is hot. Volpe Fox also. And Viola Pride. Viola, you usually hang out in locals. I'll bet anything you're in locals right now. You might. She is. You didn't even know, did you? You didn't even know. You didn't even know. You've been gifted. Yeah, you've been gifted. That's right. You've been gifted. Welcome to the following. She's now a digger and a follower. That's right. A digger and a follower. There you go. Welcome to the following, Viola Pride. You might not be familiar with the following. It's not at all a cult type of cult. I'm definitely not the leader of the following. Not at all a cult type of cult. So thank you so much for your gift, Spuds. It's very kind of you. And watch Robert's Bourbon with Barnes from tonight. He makes a ton of sense. Hold your judgment until you get the whole story on locals. All right. I told you what I said. And I think what I said, anyone who's arguing with it, like, I don't know what I gave you basically a factual background. You can do with those facts whatever you think makes the most sense to you. I could speculate about it. My speculation has literally zero more value than any other human speculation. So, and I told you that if in fact that is factually what happened, that he did this, I do think that would make him a terrible human being. And I have no idea if it happened or if it didn't happen. I don't know. Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. I've been cranky all day, but your rant made me feel better. Thank you for always being... Oh, I'm glad I can help you out. I ran to Trenis Evans. No, your streams are a palate cleanser. No need to cover next stud. Nothing here to see. Clip channels. We are the cult that represents good. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not spending any more time on it. We're done with it. Let's move on. Folks don't want to hear that. In fact, I'm going to cleanse your palate even a little bit more because this, Nathan Wade, I got to tell you something. This is the first thing I've seen him do, which actually makes me kind of like him a little bit. Hard as it is to admit it. The fact that he did this interview, 6-minute interview, I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it. By the way, warning you now, good chance I'm going to have to cut this on out if I get the Daily Show basically. Daily Show gives me some copyright claim. So if you're watching this now and YouTube has basically all of a sudden just sort of there's like a zip and like I'm talking about something totally different, that's what happened. Yeah. At first when I saw this, I was like, this is just really good AI. This is really good AI. But apparently, no, this is real. Which I gotta say, props to Nathan.
Yeah, we're funny.
Oh my gosh. Not a visual of the bumping uglies that anyone really wants to have, but there you go. I never heard of Heatude. That is great. That is so good. Heatude. Heatude is awesome. She Heatude you. Oh my god. Dude's at the office getting Heatude. Anyway, so like I said, it was a all in all pretty good interview. Pretty good job he did there. He's able to like take a joke. I thought all in all it's pretty good. Yeah, and that's true. She is complaining about being sexualized by a white man in church. Yeah, should be me neither. He was Q on Living Color. So there you go. That's it. I think you got the point. Joe, we need to make a cologne and perfume that smells like the odor of audacity. Now I knew. I almost said something that people would say was racist. People was going to say that was racist if I said that joke. People are going to take that joke the wrong way. Fine. I was gonna say something. Odor, audacity. Picture of a whole bunch of like streetwalkers, but like filmed in like the film noir type of black and white and like weird angles as they're walking through, you know, white rooms with like completely white furniture, leaning against a post. Odor, audacity. That'd be great. I'm sure someone's done that by now. No? Someone must have done that by now. Most people don't remember In Living Color. Most people don't remember it. Okay. All right. So we covered that. We're good there. Oh, look at that. I'm at 922. 922. Who knows? We might party like it's 1999 tonight. Louisiana. Switching topics real quick. We got to move on through. Louisiana has passed a law that displays the 10 Commandments in classrooms. About displaying 10 Commandments in classrooms. Let's check out this video on that. Hopefully this will be about that. Because I haven't looked at it yet. But it should be about that. It's not about that. I don't know what this is. Yeah, okay, so that wasn't it. All right. I guess that's just Christian communities in the Holy Land. Louisiana is the first state I clicked that a little too quick. Sorry. Fox News. Thanks for your help, Fox News. That was great. Great. I figured instead of reading it, I'd like share a little video clip about it. That was precious moments of your lives that I'll never be able to get back, and I apologize. Maybe some of you were inspired, so all good. Louisiana is the first state to require the display of 10 Commandments in every public school classroom after Republican Governor Jeff Landry signed the bill into law Wednesday. Under the legislation HB 71, a poster-sized display of 10 Commandments in large, easily readable font is required in all public classrooms from kindergarten to state-funded universities. Over the weekend, Landry touted the bill at a fundraiser in Tennessee. I don't know why he's doing a fundraiser in Tennessee when it's affecting Louisianans, but I'm going home to sign a bill that places the 10 Commandments in public classrooms, he said, according to a report in Tennessee, and I can't wait to be sued. And sued he will be. That we can be sure of. The ACLU, Louisiana, said Wednesday it will file a legal challenge to the law, saying it violates a long-standing U.S. Supreme Court precedent and the First Amendment. Now, I want to clarify something for you. The separation of church and state is not anywhere in the Constitution. It's actually an artifact of the Supreme Court precedent. Can't, and I understand the First Amendment says that can't establish a religion. Separation of church and state, though technically that language is not exactly, it's not anywhere in the Constitution. But people refer to that, I guess, as separation of church and state. What's the deal with the 10 Commandments? By and large, I'll tell you this. My first thought on this was, as far as the likelihood of this standing up, likelihood of this case standing up, is, my first thought was, okay, this is interesting. It's interesting because Lemon v. Kurzberg, which goes back, to the 1960s, which basically says that and established what we call a Lemon test. So that case law has set a precedent whereby local government could get around issues that they were helping to establish a particular religion by sponsoring displays which would incorporate multiple faiths. So my first thought was, and I'll tell you right now, my first thought was wrong. So I'm being open with you about what my first thought was. My first thought was, that's a really interesting thought, because 10 Commandments is something that is shared by all Abrahamic faiths. And while it's true, the versions vary somewhat from commandment to commandment, and specific wording, different language, and what you consider commandment number 3 is not what I call commandment number 3, and that's okay. But and the language, like I said, is different on certain fundamental type of things. Like, from what I understand, depending on the version of King James or other versions of the Christian Bible, that says "Thou shalt not kill." The original version, Torah says, is "Don't commit murder." Sounds similar. It's not the same. Difference is "Thou shalt not kill." Most people interpret as saying that would prohibit self-defense, whereas we actually don't prohibit self-defense. And I'm not sure. Maybe different sects of Christianity may interpret that differently. I'm certainly not looking to weigh in on that. My point is that there are distinctions. And this law specifically says that it's supposed to have the Christian version. We're preparing a lawsuit to challenge HB 71. The law violates separation of church and state and blatantly unconstitutional, the ACLU says. First Amendment promises that we'll get to decide for ourselves what religious beliefs, if any, to hold in practice without pressure from the government. Politicians have no business imposing their preferred religious doctrine about students, families, and public schools. And the group said that the new law will send a chilling message to students and families who don't follow the state's preferred version of the 10 Commandments, because there are several versions of the 10 Commandments. They're not all the same. So, my initial thoughts on this, as I said, were wrong. I want to share with you, where is it? That's not it. Oh, I'm not going through case law because I don't have time to deal with that tonight. I'm already going through a complaint. That's going to take me long enough. We'll go through this right now. Stone v. Graham, 1980. In Stone v. Graham, this is according to the Free Speech Center. In Stone v. Graham, the Supreme Court ruled that a Kentucky law that required the posting of the Ten Commandments on the wall of every public school classroom in the state violated the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. Seems pretty on point, right? Because the purpose of the display was essentially religious. Now, I know that Landry is claiming that it's not exclusively religious reasons, but the Kentucky law, which was adopted in 1978, was challenged by a group of parents and children representing different religions. The Kentucky courts upheld the law. The Supreme Court reversed in determining whether the law and the effect of establishing religion. The court applied the test from Lemon v. Kurtzman from 1971, included that the required display of Ten Commandments in school rooms served a religious purpose. Ten Commandments are undeniably a sacred text in the Jewish and Christian faiths, and no legislative recitation of a supposed secular purpose can blind us to that fact. And the ruling was a little bit weird because it was unsigned, but later on we figured out it was later revealed that it came from Justice William J. Brennan. Supreme Court later ruled on Ten Commandment displays in other public spaces. Came up in Van Orden v. Perry and in McCreary County versus the ACLU. These are two different cases which were decided on the very same day. In 2005, the court upheld the display of Ten Commandments on Texas Capitol grounds in Van Orden v. Perry, but declared displays of the Ten Commandments in two Kentucky county courthouses unconstitutional in McCreary County versus ACLU. But our case here is putting it in schools. So I think Stone v. Graham certainly seems like it's right on point. Now you might say, well, sometimes precedent can be overturned. Okay. I think Landry's going to struggle to keep this statute working. I think ACLU here is in pretty strong territory. Stone v. Graham seems pretty definitive to be right on point. In both cases, the Supreme Court said the Stone ruling was still valid and that the context of the Ten Commandments in school classrooms required more care to avoid violations of the Establishment Clause than displays in other public areas. So they're saying that when it's in a school classroom, that's when you have to have more care. And that's precisely where Mr. Landry, governor of Louisiana, is looking to put these Ten Commandments. Now, perhaps he's hoping that he will have more success because he figures he buys the rhetoric that the Supreme Court is more based today than ever before, and he's hoping that they're going to overturn precedent. But here's my thoughts on it. I'll give you my thoughts on this law in general and this new bill that Landry's signing. My thoughts on the law are that, personally, I think Stone v. Graham and this whole desperation to separate church and state is kind of stupid. It's kind of stupid. I think that to ignore I think to say that we desperately need to have this separation of church and state, that anytime you're going to infuse God or religion into anything, or the government's doing that, I think that's something that is unholy. I think is kind of twisted. And while I recognize that every time you're going to see government doing this, it's going to be promoting Christian faith, and you all know I'm Jewish, I'm not Christian, I got no problem. I have no problem with it being in schools, capitals, county courthouses. I don't care. It's not like having it there. It's not like having it there is going to, or not having it there is having any impact on the people conducting their business there. Right? We see plenty of people who are pretty saintly without having religious artifacts or reminders around them. And they're plenty holy. We see plenty of people who are not holy who have tons of religious artifacts and reminders around them. All these things do very little to impress upon the person's actions, from my experience. That's at least my experience. And it's irrespective of whatever religion you're talking about. It's kind of foolish to stick your head in the sand and pretend that the foundation of this country wasn't rooted, certainly in Christian teachings. So why would anyone why have a problem with that? Like why it's like, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of Juneteenth. That's what it does. It reminds me of Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth. Those of you who still have it being June 19th by you. This is what it reminds me of. I think it very nicely fits in with June 19th. You want to know why you watch Good Logic? It's because I make these crazy parallels that few people see right away. But in my brain, I'm like, oh yeah, this makes perfect sense. This is exactly like Juneteenth. And you're saying to me, Joe, what the heck do 10 Commandments in a school have to do with Juneteenth? Okay, I'll walk you through it. And pretty soon, I think you'll see what I mean. You want to know what it has to do with what 10 Commandments in school has to do with Juneteenth? I'll tell you. It's this. Let's talk about.
Good morning, everybody. I'm gonna make this quick.
I'm gonna watch a little fast.
I'm gonna make this quick today. Today is Juneteenth. Now, Juneteenth was a celebration at the end of the Civil War. You know, after the freeing of the slaves, literally the Republicans and Abraham Lincoln's biggest accomplishment, literally biggest accomplishment ever. And it's been politicized over the last few years. Let me give you a quick refresher. For all of my fellow conservatives who are going to get butthurt about this being a national holiday, guess what? Donald Trump was going to make it a federal holiday as well, and all of your favorite pundits who are showing their ass today and acting just as insufferable as the Democrats do during Thanksgiving, guess what? Every single one of them had praised Donald Trump for wanting to make it a federal holiday, stating that we needed to, and most of them acknowledged that we needed to represent our history and we need to be proud of our history of freeing slaves and
you all can follow this, right? It's not too fast.
And all that stuff, and all of that is 100% true, and yes, we are. However, we've drifted so far away from being that party in principle, in deed, and in rhetoric. But I wanted to point out that now they're taking up an oppositional position just because Joe Biden did it. Let me be honest and say something that is good in spite of who does it. Okay? If a Democrat governor passes a law that says that
I agree with that.
People like Jeffrey Epstein
I agree with that.
Sexually assault children and human traffic children are going to get the death penalty, I would say that that's objectively a good thing, regardless of them being a Democrat.
And I agree with what he's saying here. It's like people are like so busy about getting wins for their side that they sometimes lose sight of what healthy policy is. We saw the left do that with Donald Trump over and over again. They couldn't find anything good that he ever did, even while he's guaranteeing money to historically black colleges and universities, creating opportunity zones, doing all sorts of things for minorities in ways that no one else ever had. They claim to be all about minorities and lowering drug prices for diabetics, which is largely helping the black community, certainly impoverished black community, and they happen to have a high incidence of diabetes. And they got ripped that up on January 20th, 2021 because it's got Trump's name on it. Like that childishness. And then spend the next 3 years wringing their hands. How do we fix the high prices of drugs? Stupid. Because they just can't give a win to the other side. They're so afraid. That's your classic cowardly institutionalist. Because we have to constantly remember it's Democrat versus Republican as opposed to actually worrying about healthy policy. So, I actually tweeted this out. And when I tweeted this out, I shared it. What I wrote was, in keeping with today's theme of first letter, which I basically wrote based. Best bit of the day, as far as Juneteenth goes, seems silly to some, except it makes others feel validated. Don't get caught up in issues that have no real harm to you, that create happiness for others, no matter who initiates them. And I think this is a big thing that is a healthy thing for people to remember. Stop worrying about every stupid little thing. So they made a federal holiday. Big deal. Is it really hurting you? Is it cheapening Christmas or July 4th because they made Juneteenth a federal holiday? Like, stop worrying. There's so many other things to worry about. And if it makes some people feel happy, all right, it makes them feel happy. And that was my take on it. And someone actually made a comment, which I thought was a good one, which was, they said, my personal problem with Juneteenth is it being labeled as Black Independence Day or National Independence Day. I want one Independence Day, not two. And that I felt was a very valid criticism. That to say that this is now supplanting July 4th is stupid. That's when you take it to a level of being stupid. It's like, why would you Black independent? It's that's like childish also. So I think Alex Pope there made great points. And to me, that's why I see a parallel here as far as how I feel about Juneteenth and how I feel about the 10 Commandments in schools. Because I'm like, okay, look, if it's making folks happy, what the hell impact is it having on you? What the hell impact is it having on you? Just grow up. Are you going to pretend that our country wasn't founded on Christian values? How is that benefiting anything? Or the people, predominantly in this country are Christian? Why would you want that? Think that having zero religious values is somehow better than having Christian values? That sounds pretty stupid. That sounds pretty childish. So why would you have a problem with someone who wants to express that they believe in God? And if someone wants to express that they don't believe in God, they can do that too. They can do that too. And each side can call the other side knuckleheads, whatever they want to call each other. Like, just chill. Grow up. Grow up. That's basically my take on it. So what should the law be on this? If you ask me what the law should be, what the law should be is, hell yeah, 10 Commandments in classrooms, go for it. God bless. If you're so much of a panty waist that you feel faint because you see 10 Commandments in there, you got much bigger issues than a stupid poster. Much bigger issues than that. So, yeah. And the same thing I say with Juneteenth. Or you're so bent out of shape over Juneteenth. And yeah, at the same time, people can take it to stupid extremes. People can say, oh, since we got this poster on the wall now all of a sudden this becomes something that, like, you need to kiss the poster every day or something like that. That all of a sudden would be taking it to a different extreme. That's like saying Juneteenth is Independence Day, is our national Independence Day, or some stupidity like that. It's like, it's frustrating. I'm so frustrated that, like, we can't trust the public to actually not take things to stupid extremes. So my general policy is live and freaking let live. And that actually means just let people live. And it's not really hurting you. It's not really hurting you if there's a 10 Commandment poster on the wall. And it's not really hurting you if Juneteenth is a federal holiday. But once that happens, assuming it were to happen, don't start taking it to the next level where it's like, aha, kazaa, Juneteenth is Independence Day. Or 10 Commandments is something that everyone has to, like, bend the knee in front of. It's like, just display what you want and don't force it down anyone else's throat. It's really that simple. Display what you want and don't force it down anyone else's throat. Recognize that the reason that society is giving you that grace is because they're giving you that grace, and not take advantage of it by trying to shove your opinions down anyone else's throat, because the only reason you're getting to express your opinion is because people gave you that grace. So that grace which got you what you were seeking is the very grace you should be extending back and not forcing it upon anyone else. It's really that simple. It's such a healthy, normal, actually just sort of, that's a natural default for humans to fall into that somehow society seems to lose its way on, and I don't understand why. It's the exact same grace. So give someone grace. They want to put a poster up on the wall. It's got 10 commandments and it has religious rooting in it. So what? Who cares? But if you get that grace, don't turn around then and say, okay, now you have to start recognizing it also, because that's the same thing. Like we give grace and let people have June 19th, and you say, okay, now you have to call this Independence Day. It's like, no, once you go to that level, then it's become, go to hell. You're a jerk. It's really that simple. I don't know why this is something that, like, to me, this is just like staring everyone in the face, and yet people struggle to express it. So there you go. I expressed it. With that being said, everything I said about 10 Commandments, I'll tell you right now, while I do believe that grace should have been granted, while I believe that Stone v. Graham was wrongly decided, the lawyer in me says this: it's not a Supreme Court precedent that should be overturned. We should be very, very careful before we overturn Supreme Court precedents. Very, very hesitant that we should overturn Supreme Court precedent when the case law is ridiculously crazy wrong, not slightly wrong, not this is kind of leaning on the wrong side. It should be crazy wrong. And there's a whole yardstick for how we overcome stare decisis, which the Supreme Court, in issuing the Dobbs decision overturning Roe v. Wade, they went through those hurdles to show why it is that Roe v. Wade was such crap law and really merited being overturned. So that's, and I think that if we don't respect precedent and we say we're just going to overturn things every 10 minutes because we don't like it, then you don't have any rule of law. Then you have chaos. Then you have a banana republic. Then the laws are changing every time the constitution of the Supreme Court gets shifted by one or two folks. That's not a healthy society. You need to have the bedrock reliability of Supreme Court precedent. So while I think that Stone v. Graham was poorly decided, and had I been sitting there as a justice, I would have been like, let him have it. Let him have it. If I was sitting on the Supreme Court today, now that Stone v. Graham is 44 years old, now Landry's coming in here. Why is he filing this now? Because he's hoping that I'm a conservative person sitting on the Supreme Court and I'm going to be willing to overturn precedent in order to help, let you put your 10 commandments up there. I'm not doing that. That I'm not doing. Because we have to respect precedent. If we don't respect precedent, then we should expect that precedent that we do set today are going to change 10 minutes after the Constitution. When I say Constitution in this context, I mean the makeup, the mindset of the liberalities of the people who are sitting on the bench. As soon as that changes, you get a new person up there, and all of a sudden now we should expect presto zingo, everything's going to change back. Where the hell's the rule of law in that? That's stupid. And while I don't really trust the left that they're not going to do it anyway, I at least have to live by proper, healthy guidelines and trust that my fellow man will do same until they prove otherwise. So that's my take on it. That's my take on all of that. That's my take on Juneteenth. That's my take on 10 Commandments in schools. I hope the parallel ended up becoming something that made sense to y'all. Let me go through, make sure I didn't miss anything over on Rumble. I did. Barb loves Alaska. Justin, Michigan Dems passed bill preventing board canvassers from investigating election fraud. Your thoughts, Joe? Can this be challenged prior to election day? Is it legal? Preventing board canvassers from investigating election fraud. What? Michigan is lost. Michigan is lost. As I understand what you're saying there, Barb, you're basically saying that the Michigan legislature passed a bill saying that you can't challenge whether there was fraud in an election. I don't see that here. I would need to see the bill. Was it passed by their? I don't even know if they have. What do they have there? An assembly and Senate. I would need to look at it more, which I don't think I have time to really do that. I'm sorry, Barb. What if they only passed the last 6 commandments? Saying not one God, no Sabbath. I don't even know which. I don't know what the first. I forget what the first 4 are in the Christian Bible. I know what they are in mine. I know what they are in Torah. I don't. But yeah, I get confused by yours. Fanny's dad. Hey, Nick, how you doing? Fanny's dad has been all over the world. He knows what her name sounds like. It's not our fault he named her after the entire undercarriage of a woman. It's not sexualization. How is it possibly sexualization? I understand. Juneteenth looks way different. I'm missing the joke there. I'm sure there is a joke, and I'm not getting it. Louisiana has mandated display of these 15 crashed 10 commandments. History of the world. Louisiana fighting illiteracy with large funds. I've heard there's a whole party built around the lemon test called the Lemon Party. Basically, you're not able to cane just anyone. But no. What if they only we covered this? I don't know. What are you saying? The last 6, as far as my reckoning, is honor your parent, honor your father and mother. Don't commit murder, or don't kill. Don't steal. Don't commit adultery. No false witness, and don't be jealous. I don't know. They basically say, when you look at McCreary, I actually looked through the next thing they talked about McCreary, which was one of the cases signed in 2005, is that the religious nature of the 10 commandments is beyond dispute. And there's a second test beyond the lemon test that they look at to try and basically say, would a reasonable person assume that the reason that your government is doing this, I'll give you a little more law here, that the reason your government is doing this is rooted in religion or not? When they see this law, would they assume that it's tied to religion? If they knew if they had familiarity with every religion in the world and they saw this law that was passed, would they assume that it's rooted in religion? And if it passes, and if it comes to that standard, government can't promote it. So even if the state bill, it reads as it's not really exclusively for religious reasons, you're mandating it's the Christian version, not the Muslim version. I don't know what the Muslim version looks like, but I know the Muslims have a version, not the Jewish version. So you tell me, like, by that yardstick, while I said I don't think the law should have been written the way it is, but it is the way it is. I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know how it's going to fly. I think Stone v. Graham says this is a flat-out loser. But is posting a pride flag at school similar to posting 10 commandments? I view the pride flag is similar to religion at this point. You got my vote. The founders never intended to be a separation of church and government. The Bible was taught in every classroom in the U.S. for forever. Time to brew in the First Amendment. Long live Justice Thomas. Amen to that. Amen to that. Look, you want to start overhauling the whole separation of church and state, then start reassessing everything. I'm down with that. I'm down with that. But I don't think it would. And if that's the basis that they want to start overturning everything, all right. You want to just say separation of church and state is a made up concept? All right. I can go with that. But just saying we're going to ignore Stone v. Graham, that I'm not down with. That doesn't make sense to me. Robin Sage says, you can thank Klansman Justice Hugo Black for his 1947 ruling in Everett v. Board of Ed for creating this non-existent wall by spinning Jefferson's letters to the Dansbury Baptists on its head. Really? I didn't know that. Only reason federal holidays to allow federal workers to get a day off, but all of us actual workers still work through it. I'm working. My problem is kid will tell other kids they're going downstairs and use it to bully them. Kids don't need more ammo to bully other kids. I don't know. I've heard so many different reasons. So many things have been justified to stop the bullying in classrooms, and I'm not certainly encouraging bullying. And bullying is, I'm sure, a real thing. I mean, kids get bullied. They've always gotten bullied. They always will get bullied. But saying that we start cutting out topics that they can be bullied on because there's a fear that there's going to be bullying. You take away this issue, there's still 1,000 other things you've been bullied over, from their physical features to their clothing to their mannerisms to whatever unusual element they have about themselves, to just the fact that they happen to be in close proximity to kids who suck and are natural bullies. Natural bullies are going to find something to bully people over. So saying that we're going to stop doing something because we're afraid that this is new fodder for a bully to engage in. They always seem to find fodder if they're so inclined. So I don't think that that's a reason that we should just shift everything around because we're afraid of the bullies. Look at the bill refers to USA's historical traditions of the Ten Commandments, not religion. Like I said, a query. Because of this, because of you, freedom, go a little further here. 2005, McCreary County versus ACLU. McCreary County via ACLU, Supreme Court relying heavily on the history behind the exhibited images in question, held 5-4 that 10 Commandment displays in 2 Kentucky county courthouses violated the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. The court decided that this case the same day as another 10 Commandments case, Van Orden v. Perry, in which the court ruled 5-4 that a monument to the 10 Commandments in a Texas public park did not violate the Establishment Clause. So you can put it in a park, can't put it in a courthouse. The ACLU of Kentucky sued 2 Kentucky counties for displaying framed copies of the 10 Commandments taken from the King James Version of the Bible. Courthouse displays rarely visible to those using the courthouse. After the district court ruled the displays were in violation of the Establishment Clause, the counties modified the displays to include a variety of other documents, saying, see, we got a whole bunch of other documents that makes it okay, because historically that worked. Each of the new documents mentioned God, and some documents were edited to include only religious references. The Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals affirmed the ruling, so the counties proposed a third version of the displays, which included fuller versions of some of the documents contained in the second display, saying, is it okay now? And some additional documents that did not reference God. New displays also included a prefatory document that claimed the displays contained documents that played a significant role in the foundation of our system of law and government. See, historical. This is why I brought this up for you, Freedom Forever. Case moved to Supreme Court, which affirmed that the purpose of displays was to advance religion, a violation of the First Amendment. The Supreme Court litigation focused upon the displays in 2 counties, McCreary County and Pulaski County. Justice David Souter focused on the history of the display and the lack of a secular purpose evinced by that history. is a lack of a secular purpose. Court's secular purpose analysis invoked the Lemon test. They explain the purpose of that the purpose analysis in the test is meant to ensure government neutrality and regarding religion. So neutrality is normally gained on the Lemon test by having these different displays up there. The court also applied endorsement analysis, explaining that when the government favors religion, it sends a message to non-adherents that they're outsiders, not full members of the political community, and an accompanying message to adherents that they're insiders and they're favored members. Okay. Court further clarified the secular purpose test by holding that the eyes that look to purpose belong to an objective observer. That's what I was referencing before. That they're supposed to take into account the traditional external signs that show up in the text, legislative history, and implementation of the official act. And the court says that if an objective observer would perceive the predominant purpose behind a government action as religious, even if the bill says that it's historical traditions, like you're saying, the government is taking religious sides. In this regard, the history and context of the display of which the observer is presumed to be aware are important. And it's because I read this earlier that I was like, when I saw your thing, I'm like, it could be that they're saying it's referring to the historical element, but it's going to go by an objective observer yardstick. That's what McCreary said. And McCreary was not even in a school. In the schools, they're more sensitive to it. That's what I'm saying. I don't see this holding up. I could be wrong. I just don't think it's going to. There is no per se rule against displaying 10 commandments. When the text of the commandments is present, the religious message is hard to avoid absent a context that suggests the display is not meant to promote religion. Additionally, surrounding the text with other historical documents, whose main connection is that they contain religious references, will only make a reasonable observer more likely to perceive a religious purpose. Oh, there's a whole bunch of religious documents here. They said that the odd choices of the historical documents included in them display did not have a secular purpose. And the court found attempts to link 10 commandments with their divine origin and Declaration of Independence, which derives governmental power from power, especially strange. So there you go. That's in a courthouse, and we're more sensitive in a school. So, look, I'm just telling you my opinion. I can be wrong. And like I said, I don't like the original decision in Graham v. Stone. I think that they should allow in schools. So I just don't think that calling it historical is going to pass muster with the Supreme Court. Federal workers want to make us more like Europe, at least have a federal holiday at least twice a month. Austerity. Can I have all the holidays they want? How many days do they get off work? Yeah, that's why Greece went bankrupt. If you only love God because you're forced to love God, then do you really love God? The law should allow it, not demand it. I agree with that, Jake. Thank you, Salty C, for gifting a membership. I'm not going to find it, though, but I appreciate you. Since I'm not finding it, I'll give you a horn blow. Still love you, Joe. I would love to meet you if you're ever in Florida. I plan on coming to Florida a lot in the near future. Ellie Fuentes, I've come here for the laughs. Aww. What are you supposed to do on June 19th? Feel guilty, light a candle, just take the day off work. I don't get it. Keep your daughter off the pole. That's number 4. What? I don't even. Oh, that's what? That's commandment number 4. Separates church and state is nowhere in the Constitution, only establishment of religion. I know. Bullied for being named Courtney. Should be. Look up Ever v. Board, 1947 Black's rulings. I can't. Robin, what are you doing to me? Robin. Just because. That's so kind. Thank you, Pam. You're welcome. You're very welcome. How long is Evergreen board? God. Am I ever going to get my Voldemort case? It's Everson v. Board Township. Is this right? Yeah, I don't have time for this. I'm sorry. I can't. Joe getting ready to retire to Florida like a good New York Joe. Indeed I is. Indeed I is. All right. We're here for the main event now. An hour and a half in, and it's time for the main event. We're gonna work our way through it. Now, the other day I mentioned a news story where the state of Kansas is suing a very large company who sponsored a lot of commercials in 2021. Brought to you by MSNBC. Brought to you by Viagra. CBS, brought to you by Viagra. One after another. Yeah, that's right. The Viagra company. Well, YouTube doesn't like when I use that word. They don't like when I use their name. Probably because they probably get a lot of money. Because they're probably brought to you by Viagra as well. So, because I don't like affronting anyone, I took the original complaint and changed their name to a more appropriate name. And I changed a more appropriate name, which is State of Kansas versus Voldemort, Inc. There you go. You're not going to find the name of that very holy company, which everything was brought to us by in 2021. Everything was brought to as they raked in billions of dollars in 2021. They were motivating people to go get hamburgers. You get a free hamburger if you use their products. You get $50 if you use their products. You can get a lottery ticket. People making stupid commercials, writing these meme songs. Just use Voldemort products. So the Voldemort product, instead of using that word, I changed that to unforgivable curse. Because it is an unforgivable curse that was brought to us by Voldemort. If you know, you know. And if you're lost, I can't help you. Oh. And then, just for giggles, I just referred to something else that was a big talk of the town in 2020. Reasons for all people to basically be shut away and all that other thing. So I just call that Sneezy 19. And with that in mind, we're going to, and I know you thought I was kidding when I said I would do this. No. I literally changed all the words in this document. So when I'm reading it to you, you're going to see all over the place Voldemort, Sneezy 19, and unforgivable curses. Did you get your unforgivable curse? How many times? How many times did you use Voldemort Inc? Maybe you used Malfoy. You were in a Voldemort. Maybe you got instead of two unforgivable curses using Voldemort. Maybe you went for that one version that you can get from Umbridge. Yeah, that's right. All right. Campaigning. Maybe it's time to move on to the Benginos and locals so we can talk free. No, we're talking freely now. Come now, state of Kansas. Voldemort misled the public as safe and effective Sneezy 19 unforgivable curse. Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Voldemort said its Sneezy 19 unforgivable curse was safe, even though it knew its Sneezy 19 unforgivable curse was connected to serious adverse events, including myocarditis, pericarditis, failed pregnancies, and death. Voldemort concealed this critical safety information from the public. I should point out to you that while we're talking about these unforgivable curses, that I am certainly not a medical expert at all. You will not get any medical advice. You're not going to get any advice about curses. You're not going to get any advice about how to gain admission to Hogwarts. You're not getting anything because I know nothing about any of these topics. You should talk to your local Hogwarts registration agent or doctor if you want assistance in any of these areas. Voldemort said its Sneezy 19 unforgivable curse was effective even though it knew its unforgivable curse. Let's draw. Let's ride. Even though it knew its unforgivable curse waned over time and did not protect against Sneezy 19 variants, Voldemort concealed this critical effectiveness information from the public. Never told you. You think, oh, if I get cursed, I'm totally fine. No. You need more curses. Voldemort said Sneezy 19 unforgivable curse would prevent transmission of Sneezy 19. You're not going to be able to transmit to other people anything about Sneezy 19, even though it knew it. It never studied. It never even studied the effect of its unforgivable curse on transmission of Sneezy 19. To keep the public from learning the truth, Voldemort worked to censor speech on social media, then questioned Voldemort's claims. Anything, if you just even question Voldemort's claims about its unforgivable curse, they're going to silence you. Voldemort's misrepresentations of a safe and effective unforgivable curse resulted in record company revenue of approximately $75 billion from its unforgivable curses. That's a lot of Avada Kedavras. Voldemort's actions and statements relating to its Sneezy 19 unforgivable curse violated previous consent judgments with the state of Kansas. This is key because this is how they get around protections that the government gave to the Voldemorts of the world for their unforgivable curses. Voldemort's actions and statements relating to its Sneezy 19 unforgivable curse violated the Kansas Consumer Protection Act of KSA 5623, regardless of whether any individual consumer ultimately received Voldemort's Sneezy. Even if you didn't get it, you're a valid litigant as long as you're a Kansan. Go move to Kansas. Voldemort must be held accountable for falsely representing the benefits of its unforgivable curse while concealing and suppressing the truth about its unforgivable curse of safety risks, waning effectiveness, and inability to prevent transmission. We know who the parties are. I don't care. We're not going into that. This is such a better way to read it, isn't it? This is such a better way to read it. You know, isn't it does have a pretty interesting voice. Respect you, Joe, trying to slide on the. I'm doing fine. I'm very proud of this. Here, hold on. I'm going to type into Rumble A little key code here for people. All right. We'll get past the whole jurisdictional and get into the meat of the matter. At all times relevant here, too, in the ordinary course of business, Voldemort acted as a supplier, as that term is defined by KSA 5624. Thank you. The same bless you. Well, it's better than Dopey 19, right? Consumer Protection Act pops up again like Trump New York civil trial. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, at least this time it's for the good folks of the world. At all times relevant here, the ordinary course of business, Voldemort made, caused, or may be solicited consumer transactions, as that term is defined by KSA 50. Upon information believed, because of the high public interest in Voldemort's unforgivable curse, Voldemort's actions and statements circulated widely throughout Kansas. Voldemort's website and social media have made misrepresentations to Kansans from the day they were posted, all the way through today. Voldemort's misrepresentations about its unforgivable curse violated the Kansas Consumer Protection Act and Voldemort's consent judgments. See, we don't know anything yet when you're reading this. We don't know anything about what are these consent judgments. We don't know what that really means. We don't know what that means. Consent judgments with Kansas. Each time there are two consent judgments that Voldemort Inc. signed with Kansas. One was in 2008, one was in 2014. And they're claiming, and the Attorney General here is claiming that the actions that they took with respect to in 2021 with respect to the unforgivable curse and their misrepresentations were a violation of those consent agreements. Voldemort made them to Kansas consumer regardless of whether an individual consumer decided to receive or forego their unforgivable curse. Millions of Kansans heard Voldemort's misrepresentations about its unforgivable curse. For example, Voldemort administered 3,355,000 unforgivable curses in Kansas as of February 2024. 3.3 million curses that Voldemort was busy. They were busy. Man. Those folks don't think they're in Kansas anymore. This accounted for more than 60% of all unforgivable curses in Kansas. All right, according to the Kansas DOH environment data. In May 2021, Voldemort advertised to Kansans on Facebook about its life-saving, unforgivable curse and its cures. Upon information believed, Voldemort intended for Kansans to think of its Sneezy 19 unforgivable curse when it discussed life-saving, unforgivable curses and cures. Voldemort ran 3 different ads between May 4th, 2021 and June 1, 2021 that received 165,000 to 190,000 impressions in Kansas. Voldemort took advantage of Kansas' fear of Sneezy 19. Everyone was saying, oh my gosh, it's Sneezy! Here comes Sneezy! And desire for safety by offering a safe and effective curse, while concealing, suppressing, and omitting material information that undermine its safety and effectiveness claims. Voldemort's big bet on its unforgivable curse, Sneezy 19, is caused by something I can't even pronounce, which originated in a city I can't pronounce, in a country controlled by Indonesians. In 2020, Pfizer. I can't believe I just said that. Finally, In 2020, finally, Voldemort raced to develop a sneezy 19 unforgivable curse. And they were going to make the best curse they could. Oh my God, their curse was going to be good. Lawyers from the House of Slytherin. And I'm sure they have the largest criminal fine ever, as well they should. Unlike other companies involved in the race for an unforgivable curse, Voldemort did not join the regular houses of Hogwarts and declined its unforgivable curse development funding. They're going on their secret means here. Voldemort distanced itself from that main operation. What? Factor 2, Mr. Data. When it announced that results of Sneezy 19 unforgivable trials, we were, quote, we were never part of Factor 2, proclaimed Voldemort, senior vice president, head of Unforgivable Curse Research and Development. the head of Unforgivable Curse Research and Development. All right. How many pages is this? Voldemort, Chairman and CEO Dr. Burloff, a veterinarian by training, reported that Voldemort declined government funding in order to liberate Voldemort's scientists from government oversight. We don't want none of the government folks around here when we're developing our new amazing unforgivable curse. But the reason why it did was because it wanted to liberate our scientists from any bureaucracy. When you get money from someone, that always comes with strings. This is a good life lesson right here. When you get money from someone, that's coming with strings. Don't think otherwise. They want to see how we're going to progress, what types of moves you're going to do. They want reports. I didn't want to have any of that. We're rich. We don't need to worry about that. I'm freaking Voldemort. We're made out of money. Because Voldemort did not accept government funding, government had limited visibility into what was happening at Voldemort. Voldemort worked at arm's length compared with other companies in Operation Factor 2, Mr. Data. The scientific lead of Factor 2 recounted. Voldemort's independence from Factor 2 allowed it to demand tailor-made contract that let Voldemort retain almost all of its intellectual property rights and forego the taxpayer protection clauses found in most government contracts that fund inventions. So they were being very sneaky here. They were purposefully trying to hide from the government so we wouldn't know what was going on there. By self-funding, Voldemort was betting big that its curse development would succeed. If it fails, it goes to our pocket, warned Voldemort, chairman of CEO Dr. Burla. So it's not going to fail. By September 2020, Voldemort had invested at least $1.5 billion for its sneezy, unforgivable curse development. Losing this money by failing to develop an approved, unforgivable curse would be painful, admitted Voldemort, chairman and CEO Dr. Burla. Based on Voldemort's public statements, Voldemort would lose $1.5 billion to $2 billion if government regulators did not approve its curse. We need this curse to get government approval. Voldemort's contract with the federal government, in which Voldemort would deliver 100 million doses of curses in exchange for $1.95 billion, required Voldemort to obtain approval of its curse. So they really needed that approval of the curse. Otherwise, they were screwed and going to lose $2 billion. Voldemort doubled down on its bet that its unforgivable curse would receive federal government approval by producing a few million unforgivable curse doses before it received the efficacy or safety data from its unforgivable curse. So they didn't even know how good it was. It was never tested from its own trials or government approval. They were just banking that this is going to work. By the way, I'm skipping past all these footnotes, but these footnotes are important because it shows, look, this is really well-researched complaints. We're not just throwing crap out here. Here's our sources. And we're quoting Voldemort's highest folks. The highest folks that we got there. You know, we got all the Lestranges in here. These are like the big time folks. We got McNair in here. The Malfoys. In August 2020, Voldemort, chairman and CEO Dr. Burla, implemented a plan to sell some of his Voldemort stock if it reached predetermined price, just 1 day before Voldemort issued a press release featuring additional Phase 1 safety and immunogenicity data, and confirming that Voldemort and his German partner BioNTech were on track to seek regulatory review for its Unforgivable Curse candidate by October. The financial news channels Fox Business, CNBC, and Bloomberg all covered the August news, with CNBC knowing that Voldemort stock appeared to be moving sharply higher today on an optimistic Unforgivable Curse timeline. So things were looking good. Voldemort chairman and CEO Dr. Burla's stock reached the predetermined price and sold on November 9th, 2020, the same day Voldemort announced that its experimental Unforgivable Curse candidate was found to be more than 90% effective. Everyone was very excited. The sky was high and I'm moving on. I'm gonna be your number one. All right, that was flatter. That was flatter than Voldemort's stock sales were after this lawsuit was announced. Sorry for the singing. Voldemort chairman and CEO Dr. Burla made $5.6 million from his November 9, 2020 stock sale. An insider trading expert called the sequence of events involving Voldemort chairman Dr. Burla's stock sale very suspicious. Something strange here. Wait a second. So you're telling me that you announce that this thing is going to be going up, and as soon as you announce it and the stock just surges before anyone actually tests it, you're sort of selling out? That's the point that Roback here is trying to make. That's the point he's making. Burla himself didn't buy it, wasn't having it, selling out. I don't know what's going to happen once we start rolling this thing out. I'm selling now. Very suspicious, wholly inappropriate, and troubling. Makes you question the motives of Voldemort. Who would have thought that Voldemort would be suspicious? Voldemort had billions of incentives to do whatever it took to ensure that its Unforgivable Curse received the necessary governmental approval. They received emergency use authorization for its Sneezy 19 Unforgivable Curse in individuals 16 years of age and older on December 11, 2020. This is some bad folks. Emergency use authorization can be used by the FDA during public health emergencies to provide access to medical products that may be effective in preventing, diagnosing, or treating a disease, provided that the FDA determines that the known and potential benefits of a product, when used to prevent, diagnose, or treat the disease, outweigh the known and potential risks of the product. So that's how you get your approval. They got their approval. An individual 16 years of age or older on August 23rd, 2021. I don't remember getting notice of that. We never heard anything about that until after the election. Oh, that was August 23rd, 2021. Sorry. My mistake. That was for the 16-year-olds. From 2021 to 2023, Voldemort received an EUA for its Unforgivable Curse in children from 6 months to 15 years of age. I don't know why. Kids sneeze all the time. Not that I know what treatment they should be getting, because I ain't no doctor. Chapter 2. So that was all chapter 1. It's not often that I'm reading a complaint which is broken into chapters, but here we are. That day has come. I'm reading something which a complaint which has chapter 2. Transparency. Voldemort repeatedly assured Kansans that it provided transparency on its data. On December 14th, 2020, the day Americans began receiving their curses from Voldemort, Chairman and CEO Dr. Burla said, "This is an unforgivable curse that was developed without cutting corners from a company with 171 years of credentials." Really? 171 years? You go back to the 1840s? Oh. This is an unforgivable curse that was developed in the spotlight, in the daylight, with all the data being put in servers. That doesn't sound like what they're saying. That sounds a little misrepresentative, given the fact that everything was done behind closed doors. On September 16th, 2021, Voldemort Chairman and CEO Dr. Burla said, "Since the start of this pandemic, Voldemort and BioNTech have pledged to follow the science. Always follow the science. Keep people informed about our progress to help bring an end to this sneezy 19. We've stayed true to our commitments. We're such good folks here at Voldemort Inc. of full transparency without selectively cherry-picking data. Contrary to its representations, Voldemort had willfully concealed, suppressed, and omitted safety and efficacy data related to its Sneezy 19 unforgivable curse." This is the part where they're saying, liars. Liars. Voldemort used confidentiality agreements to conceal. By the way, this is literally how I would mark up complaints when I would get them. When I get them and I have to prepare an answer, like, liars. Voldemort used confidentiality agreement to conceal critical data relating to safety and effectiveness of its curse. Voldemort had kept data hidden through confidentiality agreements. What? You got confidentiality agreements with governments around the world? What, are they making secret deals? What's going on? The contract required the U.S. government to keep Voldemort's confidential information secret for 10 years while we all get fat and rich. Higher protections applied to Voldemort's trade secret information, which the government promised to keep in confidence in perpetuity. What the hell is going on? Voldemort effectively had a veto over the federal government's communications because the parties agreed that they would not make any public announcement relating to the Unforgivable Curse contract or the transactions contemplated by it without prior written consent of the other. So basically, they got a gag order, a self-imposed gag order on the government. Can't talk about what's going on here. What the hell is happening? Seriously, what the hell is happening? Conversely, Voldemort had exclusive control over its own communications through, quote, the right but not the obligation to prepare and submit scientific publications and release information to the public about its Sneezy 19 development program without the government's consent or involvement. So what they're basically saying here is that Voldemort decided to make the government agreed that they would be Voldemort's big interest trading coordinator. Ha ha. Upon information and belief, Voldemort used its confidential agreements with the United States government and others to conceal. They're looking to suppress. They're looking to omit material facts relating to their stupid, dangerous, terrible, oh my God, why would anyone voluntarily take, unless they had no other choice, an unforgivable curse coming from Voldemort. What were you thinking, including the safety and efficacy of the unforgivable curse? I mean, think about it. Just look at it. It's called an unforgivable curse. What are you thinking? Voldemort used an extended study timeline to conceal critical data relating to the effectiveness of its unforgivable curse. So, what's the first thing we had? So, let's just review so we're not losing track here, because I know that this is long and we can easily lose track of like what's happening here, right? So, the first point that they're making in this, because I want you to learn something here, not just read all about Voldemort. So, the first thing they're basically saying is that they had no transparency, and they specifically were trying to do everything they can to avoid transparency, and then said we had supervision. So that wasn't true, right? They said we got full transparency. That was a lie. Then we see, and this is, by the way, after Dr. Burla, who's the head of Voldemort, basically said, oh, sell out before anyone sees how well this works or completely bombs and fails. Then they forced the government to basically be their private little secret keepers while they're able to run around and talk to whomever they want. So they have control over the entire flow of information. And they were looking to conceal and suppress any material issues, any problems that they have with how well this thing is working, because the government couldn't say anything. Government contractually agreed, oh, don't worry. We're your bilateral, interested, totally compliant partner. Just love me. Just love me. That's what basically the government said. Voldemort used an extended study timeline to conceal critical data relating to the safety and effectiveness of the unforgivable curse. Voldemort also kept data hidden through a study timeline. So they're hiding the ball. That's what's going on here, saying, no, you can't see what's happening here. Everything is just being hidden. Voldemort planned to provide researchers with access to patient-level data and full clinical study reports 24 months after study completion. I bet that didn't happen. A phase 1-2 placebo-controlled randomized observer blind dose finding study to describe the safety, tolerability, immunogenicity, and potential efficacy of its unforgivable curse candidates against sneezing 19 in healthy adults. Voldemort initially estimated that it would complete the study by January 2023, but that estimated date fell back to February 2024, a full year late, because of a late cursing of a single study participant. So out of 44,000 participants, they said, oh, we can't give it to you yet. We don't have all the data. We're missing one person out of 44,000. How can we give it to you? It's not complete. Can't give it to you. Can't give it to you. So they stalled and stalled. Now, what's this guy's name? 21. Kobach. He's trying to show you what bad faith they're working in here. That's what he's trying to do here. That's what's happening. See how long this thing is? God. Are you understanding why I was like, I don't know if we're going to do this? This is really freaking long. There's a lot of work here. This is something that's been going on for a long time. But then they're looking to take billions of dollars away from Voldemort. And God bless them if they do. Yeah. Absolutely not there. That's the last place. At hospital, induction started. Main induction meds being started 9:30 a.m. If God is kind to my wife, we'll have a new grift lip by dinner. Hey! Wow, Chaim. To grifty man, the Chaim. Best of luck. More bass. Bass. EU8's full approval in less than a year, apparently. Another parallel, Voldemort was transparent. Oh, I see what you're saying. I see. Never trust a noseless trying to cure sneezing. Yep. Scientists were outraged that they could still not review Voldemort's Sneezy 19 study data. Voldemort's pivotal Sneezy Unforgivable Curse trial was funded by the company and designed, run, analyzed, and authorized by their own freaking employees. The company and the contract research organizations that carried out the trial hold all the data. It's like Philip Morris trying to figure out how good smoking is for you. Voldemort's control of the data allowed the company to selectively publish results for which the underlying data could not be independently evaluated. As the British Medical Journal editorialized in January 2022, pharmaceutical companies are reaping vast profits without adequate independent scrutiny of their scientific claims. In other words, for all we know, they're completely full of hot garbage. The purpose of regulators is not to dance to the tune of rich global corporations and enrich them further. It is to protect the health of their populations. In other words, this is actually supposed to be to help protect people. We need complete data transparency for all studies. We need it in the public interest, and we need it now. So it's not just us who are upset with them. The British Medical Journal in January 2022 said, what the heck is happening here? Perhaps due to production ruling in the FOIA lawsuit against the FDA, and the increased frustration expressed by scientists, Voldemort finally completed its study on February 10, 2023. Voldemort today says it will make data from its Unforgivable Curse trials approved in the United States available in 18 months after the primary study completion date. So they're still trying to stonewall us. Upon information believed, Voldemort has still not made its complete study data available to researchers. Voldemort used FOIA denial and delay to conceal critical data relating to the safety and effectiveness of the Unforgivable Curse. The FDA refusal to immediately produce safety and effectiveness data for Voldemort's Unforgivable Curse kept Voldemort data hidden from the public. The FDA granted full approval for Voldemort's Unforgivable Curse on August 23rd, 2021. Full approval should have made Voldemort's safety and effectiveness data information, adverse reaction reports, product experience reports, and consumer complaints immediately. We should have had that all the way back on August 23rd, 2021. We should have had that freaking 3 years ago. Safety and effectiveness data includes all studies and tests on animals and humans, but the FDA did not make the safety and effectiveness data for Voldemort's curse immediately available. Because full data was not available, public health and medical professionals for Transparency in America submitted a FOIA request to the FDA for all data information for Voldemort's Sneezy 19 Unforgivable Curse. Voldemort's contract with the federal government granted Voldemort at least 30 days to review any records the government planned to release and the power to identify documents and information legally withholdable from release under FOIA. My God, it's like this is our new master is Voldemort. This is hard. I mean, all kidding aside, it's shocking just how much of Voldemort's bitch our government has been. Just completely. And they don't give a slightest, and if the results were really positive, do you think that Voldemort wouldn't be like, here you go. Take a look. Aren't you proud of us? That's what people do when the results are positive. It's because Voldemort is afraid that its curse has has harmed so many countless people. That's why Voldemort doesn't want to release anything to you guys. That's why they don't want to release it to the government, because they know with the disaster that they wreaked on society. These bastards. FOIA does not provide a third party like Voldemort with rights to review documents before the release or to identify withholdable documents. Where the hell they even think they got the freaking right? Voldemort's curse contract thus provide Voldemort with rights over government documents not typically possessed by normal companies. But hey, look, this is the House of Gaunt. This is the House of Gaunt. This is Salazar Slytherin's own flesh and blood. They can do whatever the hell they want. The FDA denied expedited processing of PHMPTA's FOIA request and claimed in litigation that it would take 55 years until 2076 to produce all the responsive documents. Wait, what? FDA wants 55 years to process FOIA requests over unforgivable curse data. These people should be sent to prison. They should be sent to prison. Upon information believed Voldemort's contractual rights to review documents before the release and to identify withholdable documents influenced the FDA's decision to deny expedited processing of PHMPTA's FOIA request and impose a 55-year production timeline. What freaking audacity. Upon information believed Voldemort thus had a role in keeping its safety and effectiveness data possessed by the FDA hidden from the public. In January 2022, a federal judge rejected the FDA's proposed production of 500 pages per month. Why would you be producing only 508 pages per month? Order the FDA to instead produce 55,000 pages per month. $500 pages a month. Wait, so 500 pages to 55,000 is basically increasing it by 110 times. So 1/100, basically in like 4 months to get it to them. Voldemort destroyed the Unforgivable Curse Control Group, which will conceal critical data relating to the safety and effectiveness of its Sneezy 19 Unforgivable Curse. This, to me, is the best thing that I've read so far. This is the best thing that I've read so far. Do you want to know why this is such a great thing? Because, like I said, I have concerns about protections that Voldemort may have because it's an EUA, it's an emergency use authorization, and as a result, therefore, that they can just never be held accountable. But when they're taking a long time to turn over data, and they're destroying their control group, why are you destroying your control group information? Well, they might be turning over the data because they're looking to use this for a long time. They're trying to use this for a long time. See, and they think like if the results are bad, well, they might stop using our products. They might stop using our curses. We don't want that to happen. We're raking in the money. But if they're actually going so far as to destroy critical information, that means that Voldemort is afraid of ramifications that could impose severe financial penalty. That's why you destroy information. If they felt they were impenetrable, if they felt that they couldn't be touched because they had protections under congressional protections because it's an EUA, so whatever we do can't come after us, then they would be like, oh well, here's the control group. The reason you destroy documents is because you're afraid of financial exposure. You're afraid of financial penalty. And that says to me that perhaps it's time to sell short on Voldemort. It's time to sell short on Voldemort. Finally, Voldemort kept its Sneezy 19 Unforgivable Curse true effects hidden by destroying the control groups participating in its Unforgivable Curse trial. If that allegation is true. I don't know that it's true, but that's the allegation. A double-blind study in which both the study subjects and study investigators do not know which group received the treatment or the placebo is the gold standard in modern clinical trials and is designed to test the treatment's safety and efficacy. Voldemort promoted that it was conducting a double-blind study on its Sneezy 19 Unforgivable Curse to obtain safety, immune response, and efficacy data needed for regulatory review. Voldemort planned to follow Sneezy 19's Unforgivable Curse study participants, both Unforgivable Curse and placebo recipients, for 24 months to monitor the safety and effectiveness of its Unforgivable Curse. So we're going to follow up. So basically, give them a curse and then follow up with these folks for 2 years to see what's the impact. Are you getting sneezy? How, what type of sneezy? What percentage of them are getting sneezy? What other side effects are you getting from this curse that we shoved inside your skin, under your skin? Once the FDA approved Voldemort's Sneezy 19 Unforgivable Curse through an EUA, Emergency Use Authorization, on December 2020, Voldemort unblinded the study participants and offered Unforgivable Curse placebo recipients the option to receive the Unforgivable Curse. Of the 21,921 Unforgivable Curse trial participants who received the placebo, more than 20,000 of them decided to receive the actual. So they basically came back and they said, hey, by the way, remember that thing we gave you? That was a placebo. There was nothing in there. So the 21,000, more than 20,000 of them said, hey, I'm going to get it as of March 13, 2021. I'm not surprised by that because anyone who was willing to get it the first time didn't know it was placebo. So presumably, the people who got it were very happy to get it. So that's not surprising. Taken together, only 1,544 placebo participants had not received the Unforgivable Curse as of March 13, 2021. So right away, they all lined up to get it. Just 7% of the original placebo group. Because Voldemort unblinded, who told you to unblind it? In other words, they unblinded it to basically destroy their own study. Because they unblinded the original group and allowed them to receive the Unforgivable Curse, government regulators and independent scientists cannot fully compare the safety and efficacy of the Unforgivable Curse. So for one reason or another, even though it was a blind study, the people who got the placebo were not supposed to know that they didn't get the real drug. They went to them and said, oh, by the way, we gave you a placebo. But they were supposed to be following them for 2 years without telling them that they got a placebo. So they basically destroyed their own study after saying, we're going to engage in a double-blind study. So just so you can understand exactly what's happening here that's being laid out here by, I can't remember this guy's name, by the state of Kansas. Voldemort comes out and says, hey, you can trust my curse. My curse is ultra special. It's going to just Avada Kedavra the heck out of you. You're going to love it. And just so you know, so you can trust it, we're going to use the gold standard of testing. We're going to engage in a double-blind study where a bunch of folks here are going to come here and think they're getting it. Some are going to get the actual curse, and some of them are just going to get water or something, some other fluid that is not going to do anything. We're going to tell them all they got it. We're going to follow them for 2 years. What'd they do? And then we're going to see, is our curse really great? Is it really doing something? Is it really helping these folks? Or is it not? What does Voldemort do? So they go through the whole thing. 21,000 people getting placebos, another 20,000 actually getting cursed. Then they come back to all the folks who got placebos and say, hey, by the way, we were kidding when we said we gave you a curse. We actually just gave you a placebo. They were supposed to follow them for 2 years. See how they respond. Are they claiming that they're okay, that they got special extra benefits? No. 2 months afterwards, they basically say, they come turn around to them right after they got it, a month or two later, and they're like, oh, by the way, you had a placebo. Do you want to get the real? You want to get the real juice? You want the real juice? Citrus? You like citrus? He likes citrus. He wants citrus. Everyone wants citrus. He wants citrus. Of which 93% of them were like, oh, yeah, give me the real curse. I want the real curse. Which means it's not even a placebo. You just destroyed everything. Even the other 7% also know that it was a placebo. So what the heck are you doing? Now you're not comparing against uncursed people. Voldemort's extensive and aggressive efforts to keep its unforgivable curse information hidden conflict with its public transparency pledges. They lied to the public, said, oh, we're being very transparent, having double blind tests. Lies. Raised serious question about what the heck they're hiding and why you're hiding it. Why? We want to know. Why are you hiding this stuff? Why? What do you know? Why? Liars, thieves, evil, sick Fs. The curse and safety. Voldemort's representation about Sneezing 19, Unforgivable Curse and Safety. In an open letter to the public, Voldemort chairman and CEO Dr. Burla dedicated his company to producing a safe, unforgivable curse. We got this. I'm going to give you the best curse you ever saw. I'm going to blow away Sneezy. Second requirement is to prove that the unforgivable curse is safe. Our internal standards for curse safety is those required by regulators are set high. Safety is and will remain our number one priority, and we will continue monitoring and reporting safety data for all trial participants for 2 years. Liars. After committing to Kansas that safety was their number one priority, Voldemort and its employees, directors, and agents, they just would misrepresent to Kansans that it was safe. And you'd have no idea. You just don't know. Nobody knows if it's safe. At best, maybe, but you're promising it is. And you don't know. On November 9, 2020, Chairman Dr. Burla said, we feel very good about the safety of Voldemort's Sneezing 19 Unforgivable Curse, and that there were no safety concerns. He has no way of knowing that. He's full of crap. He's a big fat liar. It's like you should have known, because basically as soon as he said it, his pants burst into flames. It was just obvious this dude, Dr. Burla, was just like the biggest liar imaginable. This guy is sick. Makes me sick to my stomach.
You sir, are a liar. Liar. Your pants are on fire.
The reports on April 1, 2021, Voldemort issued a press release confirming no serious safety concerns through up to 6 months following second dose of the Voldemort Unforgivable Curse. On August 23rd, 2020, Voldemort chairman and CEO Dr. Lewis said that the Voldemort Unforgivable Curse is effective and safe. On September 16, 2021, Dr. Burla said, we have been very successful in developing an effective and safe unforgivable curse. You don't know any of this. You're just talking completely out of your buttocks. On September 20, 2021, Voldemort announced in a press release that in participants 5 to 11 years of age, the unforgivable curse was safe. And then the Supreme Court came along. Justice Sotomayor said, we got to force everyone to have it because there's 81 million children who have Sneezing 19. They're in hospitals with Sneezing 19. So we're going to force everyone to get cursed. Well tolerated and showed robust neutralizing antibody responses. On November 22, 2021, Voldemort announced that its Sneezing 19 Unforgivable Curse demonstrated 100% efficacy against Sneezing 19 in longer-term analysis with no serious safety concerns identified in children 12 through 15 years of age. Anytime they say 100% efficacy, you know that's a lie. You know it. You know it. There's no such thing. They made unsupported representations and concealed material facts relating to safety of your unforgivable curse. You're basically just talking out of your butt. Unsupported representations. What Voldemort knew about its unforgivable curse demonstrates that Voldemort made unsupported representations, concealed material facts relating to its sneezing 19 unforgivable curse. First of all, the curse development normally includes testing on people with typically varying health statuses. You don't just give it all to a bunch of healthy folks and from different demographic groups. That's how you test. Why are you testing like everyone who's just like, you know, a bunch of Olympians, a bunch of athletes? Indeed, unforgivable curse development includes trial participants who have characteristics similar to the intended recipients of your curses. Voldemort only tested unforgivable curse on healthy individuals. Hey, can you run a mile in under 4.2 minutes? Then we got a test for you. Voldemort excluded unhealthy individuals from its Sneezing 19 curse trials. For example, Voldemort excluded from their curse trials any individual who had been diagnosed with Sneezing 19. Voldemort excluded any immunocompromised individual. Why? Why? You think none of them are going to end up taking your stupid product? Voldemort excluded any woman who is pregnant or breastfeeding. We're not giving it to you. Sure, plenty of pregnant women are going to end up taking our product, but we're not going to test it on any of those folks. Voldemort excluded individuals whose health officials opined were vulnerable to Sneezing 19 or who accordingly were likely to be interested in their curse. Voldemort representations that their representations that they don't have safety concerns, failed to disclose the material facts that have been only tested on healthy individuals. So they basically came out and said, hey, we're positive. This is 100% fine, 100% safe. You're fine. Everyone's fine. Everyone's fine. Everyone's fine. When they specifically said, oh, we're not going to test on the sickly folk. We're not going to test it on pregnant women or women who are breastfeeding. We don't want to do that, God forbid. But don't worry. When we're selling it to you, we're going to tell you it's 100% fine. Have another curse. Oh, wait, our last curse wore off. Let's give you another curse. Let's give you another curse. People are evil, sick mother effers. Sick. God. Pits of hell these people should be burning in. Dr. Burla. Voldemort did not have data to support representations that its curse was safe for general population, such as individuals who have been diagnosed, were immunocompromised, or were pregnant or breastfeeding. But they just made the claim. They just said it. They didn't know. They had no way of knowing. They didn't even test on anyone. They were too afraid to test on anyone, but they're plenty happy to sell to them and say 100% effective. My God, this company needs to be burnt to the ground. We should. It's like I literally want to see this company splinter into a million pieces and have its own Avada Kedavra backfire on themselves. Brought to you by Voldemort. Voldemort failed to disclose limitations of its Sneezing 19 Unforgivable Curse trials. When Voldemort announced that the FDA had authorized Voldemort's Unforgivable Curse for emergency use, Voldemort did not disclose that its trial included only healthy individuals. Why would they say that? That doesn't sound good. Doesn't sound like they really believe in it. And that they, more importantly, that they excluded unhealthy folks. They didn't tell anyone that. We're 100% sure because we tested it on only the very healthiest people in the world, so everyone should take it. In its press release announcing emergency use authorization of the Unforgivable Curse, Voldemort claimed that a primary endpoint of the trial of its curse was prevention of Sneezing 19, regardless of whether participants have previously been infected. Oh, even if you had it, but they wouldn't give it to anyone who previously had it. Voldemort's statement was misleading since it had excluded anyone who had previously been diagnosed with Sneezing 19. So they're full of crap again. They're saying, oh, if you had it, it's fine for you to take this. Even though you have your antibodies from Sneezy. You got your antibodies from Sneezy. Don't worry. You're fine. In its press release announcing emergency use authorization of its Sneezy 19 Unforgivable curse, Voldemort did not disclose that it had excluded immunocompromised individuals from their trials. They were not in the trials. No, that's not good. But they were. They left out this little thing that, whoa, there are no trials for those folks. We're just going to give it to them. You know who the trial's on? You. That's right. You fatty. You unhealthy folk. You high cholesterol. You're the test subject. By the way, this curse, you got to take it. You got to take it. You want to finish that degree of yours? Got to take this curse. Unbelievable. This is just so evil. This is so unbelievably evil. People should be spending lifetime in solitary confinement with occasional conjugals from really perverse individuals. I don't mean conjugals for them. I mean anyone in the prison who's looking for a conjugal should be allowed to visit them. That's what they should have. That's what these folks should have. That's what we should see for Dr. Burla. I don't want to just see him bankrupted. I want to see him get imprisoned. And I want part of his imprisonment that they actually say, we're putting you in solitary confinement, but once a week, we're going to allow any prisoner any prisoner who's locked up in that facility with you, who's in need of a conjugal, to come to and give them an hour in a cell with you. That's what this guy should get. Sick folks. Instead, in important safety information in his press release, Voldemort noted that immunocompromised persons, including individuals receiving immunosuppressant therapy, may have a diminished immune response. Oh, that's what they said? Because it excluded immunocompromised individuals from its Unforgivable curse trials, Voldemort did not have a reasonable basis to make representations about the possible effect that the curse would have on those immunocompromised individuals. In its press release announcing EU emergency use authorization of its Sneezy 19 curse, Voldemort did not disclose that it had excluded pregnant or breastfeeding women. How many pregnant breastfeeding women took it? Instead, Voldemort reported that it planned additional studies. Oh, we're going to have additional studies long after you take it to evaluate in pregnant women. In addition to important safety information in its press release, Voldemort reported available data on Voldemort Unforgivable curse administered to pregnant women are insufficient because we done none to inform associated risks in pregnancy. Unbelievable. These vile, sick people. Sick people. Kansas will get billions, but those damage nothing. No. I'm happy with Kansas getting it. I'm happy with Kansas getting it than Voldemort having it. Did you see Jordan Peterson Destiny on this topic? No, I did not. Check Connecticut Law Associate letter to lawyers telling them not to analyze Merchand's performance. That's funny. It wasn't double blind. It was two other senses. Yeah, maybe. I was forced to get the jab. I can't. I don't know. I have no idea the answer to your question. This reading proves it was factual, not conspiracy. Yeah, it's true. I hope one day I live in a world where men R word is not so normalized in society that okay is either a punchline or an acceptable punishment. Are you judging me now? Is that what's happening? You're judging me? It wasn't a punchline. I wasn't making a joke. Voldemort also reported data not available to assess the effects of Voldemort's curse on the breastfed infant, or on milk production excretion. God knows what these babies are ingesting, these newborns are ingesting. Voldemort did not disclose that data was insufficient and unavailable to assess the effects of the curse on pregnant and breastfeeding women because Voldemort excluded all those folks. 6 months after vaccinating individuals in its Unforgivable curse trial, 6 months after we got another press release. Again, failing to disclose stuff. Moving on. Voldemort's press release contained the same elements about immunocompromised individuals and women who are pregnant or breastfeeding as its December 11, 2020 press release. Voldemort made representations about its Sneezy 19 Unforgivable curse safety knowledge, knowingly or with reason to know that they don't know what the hell they're talking about, and they were just talking completely out of their ass. Specifically when we're talking about the immunocompromised or pregnant or breastfeeding. Voldemort made representations knowingly or with reason to know that the safety of the curse had not been proven or substantiated despite their stupid claims. Voldemort's decision to exclude individuals who had been diagnosed with Sneezy 19 or who were immunocompromised or who were pregnant or breastfeeding from its curse were material facts. Multiple occasions, they willfully concealed or suppressed these material facts. So this is not just like a small deal you want to point out in order to try and win on this application. Material, important, not an insignificant thing. Voldemort's knowledge of Sneezy 19 Unforgivable curse safety issues. They possessed data presenting significant safety concerns associated with their stupid curse. When Voldemort made public statements in 2021 that its Unforgivable curse was safe, the FDA defines an adverse event as any undesirable experience associated with the use of medical product in a patient. Not that I'm giving any medical advice here. The FDA and CDC co-manage the Unforgivable curse adverse event reporting, a national early warning system to detect possible safety problems resulting from curses. It's a passive reporting system that relies on reports submitted by patients and healthcare providers, a system that is believed to miss many potential side effects because not everyone's going to report. Most people probably won't. Separate from that self-reporting, Voldemort maintains own adverse events database, contain cases of adverse events reported spontaneously to Voldemort. So they got their own special log of problems. Published in the medical literature cases from Voldemort-sponsored marketing programs, non-interventional studies, and cases of serious adverse events reported from clinical studies, regardless of causality assessment. Upon information and belief, so where we're going with this whole adverse event database, that they had more in there than the main government system. Voldemort did not publicly release this whole adverse events things. Even though they had more information, they kept it from us. Only way we got it was from public health and medical professionals for transparency in a FOIA litigation. That's how we got those. As of February 28, 2021, Voldemort's adverse events database contained 158,000 adverse events. 158,000. Understand, this is February 28th, 2021. They only rolled it out 2 months earlier, and they already have 158 from 42,000 case reports. Now, I'm wondering how many millions of people got it during this time. I remember that people were trying to get it. And there was a whole big lineup of people. As of February 28th, their database contained 1,223 fatalities. after taking the Unforgivable curse. Although Voldemort did not make causality findings, so we don't know if it was because of that. Voldemort was receiving so many adverse event reports that it had to hire 600 additional full-time staff and expected to hire more than 1,800 additional resources by June 2021. Because, like, oh my God, so many people are complaining about this thing. Wow. They literally cursed the world. They cursed the world. Voldemort had such a backlog of adverse events that it might take 90 days to code non-serious cases. Voldemort did not know the magnitude of underreporting, but significant underreporting was likely. So what they know is the tip of the iceberg, potentially. Voldemort's representation that its Sneezy 19 Unforgivable curse did not have any safety concerns was inconsistent with the adverse events data they themselves possessed. They knew it. They had all this reporting, and they're saying safe. It's totally safe. They concealed, suppressed, or omitted material facts that are important, that they possessed. Voldemort's knowledge of the safety of its Sneezy 19 Unforgivable curse on pregnant women. They have a secret animal study. What's this going to show? While Voldemort tested its Unforgivable curse on healthy individuals in 2020, they avoided any pregnant women. They did try pregnant rats from June 29, 2020 to October 12, 2020. A combined fertility and development study according to the lab that performed the research, the rat genome is comparable to the human genome, which makes rats desirable models for the study of diseases that affect humans. The rat fertility study contained a positive conclusion. Intramuscular administration of this thing, BNT 162B1, B2, or B3, before and during gestation to female Wistar rats was associated with non-adverse effects. Okay, that sounds good. Body weight, food consumption effects localized to the injection site each after each curse administration. There were no effects of any of the three Unforgivable curses candidates on mating performance or fertility in F0 female rats or the embryo, fetal, or postnatal survival, growth, or development of the F1 offspring. Okay, so this sounds okay so far. The rat fertility study details tell a much more concerning story. Rats that received BNT 162B2, Voldemort's Unforgivable curse, had multiple fetuses with severe soft tissue and skeletal malformations, or did not become pregnant, failed to implant embryos at more than double the rate of the control group, lost body weight, consumed less food. Rats that received other variations of their Unforgivable curse experienced these issues and others, such as losing their entire litters and delivering stillborn offspring. Oh my God. Voldemort did not issue a press release announcing the rat fertility study findings, but now we know why they didn't want to test it on human women. Voldemort didn't publish their findings. They issued press release and published studies for other animal study relating to their Unforgivable curse. The rat study was not publicly released until November 2022, basically 2 years after this thing was released in the Public Health and Medical Professionals for Transparency America FOIA lawsuits. That's only because they were forced to. They announced the study on pregnant women, but omits material facts already in their possession. On February 18, 2021, Voldemort announced that the first participants have been dosed in a global phase 2-3 study to further evaluate the safety, tolerability, and immunogenicity of the Voldemort Biotech Sneezy 19 Unforgivable curse. In preventing Sneezy 19 in healthy pregnant women 18 years of age and older. In its February 18, 2021 press release, Voldemort did not disclose material facts relating to pregnancy in its possession. As of February 28, 2021, Voldemort possessed reports for 458 pregnant women exposed to the unforgivable curse during pregnancy. More than half of the pregnant women reported an adverse event from Voldemort's unforgivable curse, while fewer than half did not report an adverse event. Now, I want to be clear about this so that we don't have misinformation. An adverse event could be literally a runny nose. Like, we don't know what that means, an adverse event. It could be obviously something far more serious. But I'm saying, just to appreciate this, logically, not looking to bring out the pitchforks and just to understand what actually happened here, an adverse event is a very broad term. So that's important to remember. More than 1 in 10 women who received the unforgivable curse during pregnancy reported, see, that's a very adverse event. Many within days of being cursed. 6 women who received Voldemort's unforgivable curse during their pregnancy reported premature deliveries. Several babies died. It's only 400 women. Voldemort's 2021 press release also not disclose other adverse effects on the reproductive systems of women who received the unforgivable curse. For example, by April 2022, Voldemort knew of tens of thousands of adverse events connected to the unforgivable curse, including heavy menstrual bleeding, menstrual disorders, irregular periods, delayed periods, absence of periods, and other reproductive system effects. So we got all these different problems, periods that are irregular, they're delayed, there's menstrual disorders, heavy menstruation. Upon information believed, Voldemort possessed many reports of these adverse events relating to women's reproductive systems at the time of its February 18, 2021 press release. They knew this at the beginning. They knew what a danger this was. Voldemort knew this at the beginning. From the get-go, Voldemort knew all of this as to how dangerous these curses were to pregnant women. Voldemort's study on pregnant women failed, and the results are secret. These people are so freaking evil. According to Voldemort, February 18, 2021 press release, Voldemort sought to study approximately 4,000 healthy pregnant women. However, Voldemort only enrolled a fraction of this amount in its study, National Library of Medicine. Upon information believed, Voldemort destroyed the placebo control group during the study, preventing Voldemort from evaluating differences in safety and efficacy between the cursed pregnant women and the uncursed pregnant women. Although Voldemort completed its study of its Sneezy 19 unforgivable curse on pregnant women on July 15, 2022, it still has not completed the quality control review process for the study. I'm going to wrap this up soon. I think you're all getting a flavor here. This is a really, really, I'll tell you right now, I don't know what's going to come of it. I don't know what's going to come of it. My God, this complaint should scare the bejesus out of Voldemort. This should scare the bejesus out of them. On January 18, 2023, when asked whether Voldemort's Sneezy 19 unforgivable curse causes strokes or myocarditis, Voldemort chairman and CEO Dr. Bush said, "We constantly review and analyze the data. We've seen not a single safety signal, although we have distributed billions of doses." Everyone here should have known right there, this dude's a big fat liar. Wow. I covered this before. I covered the CHS report before. Didn't mean that to be right to you. Just saying, please don't let that hurt my chances of getting one of those coins, Mr. Not the Leader, sir. They're still sitting right here. And it's all my fault. I take full responsibility for this. I don't know when I'm going to remedy this situation, but how like your other states to follow? Is that even a possibility? This could literally put them out of business. And should. This is a Ford Pinto Sitch. Planned, priced it out. To me, it just proves they're vampires. Yeah, they're terrible. Tell you, I cleaned the remains of my dog bleed for 3 months. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I want to see where. Let me search here. See how far I am from the end of this complaint, because I know that the second half of this is on page. The second half of this is like the different. There's exhibits at the end of this which take up a lot of the pages, because I'm only on page 57 out of 267. I'm not spending the next 4 hours doing this. Control F. Therefore. Oh my God, I'm not even halfway there. Let's get down to what they're looking for. What kind of relief are they seeking? Because that's important to understand. So we're jumping down there. See how I know the right word to pick, right? I was like, how do I find where they actually get to like what they want? So what is it that they want? Because we're seeing here pretty significant foundation. They're looking to declare that Voldemort's written and oral claims violate the 2008 consent judgment, which I haven't read that consent judgment yet. They're looking at that order that Voldemort pay the state of Kansas enhanced civil penalties of $20,000 for each violation of the 2008 consent judgment pursuant to KSA 56636B. Declare Voldemort's written oral claims violate the 2012 consent judgment. Order Voldemort to pay the state of Kansas enhanced civil penalties of $20,000 for each violation of the 2012 consent judgment. Oh, gosh. Declare Voldemort written and oral claims violate the 2014 consent, and that pay $20,000 for each of those violations. Declare pursuant to KSA that Voldemort's deceptive or unconscionable acts or practices violate the Kansas Consumer Protection Act. And for that, give us $10,000 for each violation of the Kansas Consumer Protection Act pursuant to that statute. Order Voldemort to pay a civil penalty of $10,000 for each day of their acts or practices. I wonder what the totals of this would be. I wonder what the totals would be. I have a feeling that they're looking to hit them for billions of dollars here, $20,000 at a time. Right. None of this is new. The side effects have been the same since the inception of the spell. They fixed nothing after release, and they have a new one. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to kid you. I worry for my daughters. I really worry for my daughters. I think my oldest daughter, I'm trying to remember if they took, I know at least one of them had to take it for school. And I worry for them. Voldemort provided the curses to the Department of Defense. It was mandatory. Think of the impacts. Yeah. I think it's a weapon. I can DM my address and get one coin out of the way. That, phew. Phew. I think I need to start selling some of these coins off. I think I need to start selling them. I'm very torn about the best way to do it. Like, should I let the winner of an auction pick which number they get? It's probably the way to do it. Or should I just say beforehand, I'm auctioning off number 4? Trying to decide. I have a few family members currently with a rare spine. They aren't biologically related. Both. Oh. I thought we were all on the same page here, Ellie. We're all on the same page. Here. I'm sorry for them. I'm sorry what they're dealing with. Yeah. I'll tell you this much. I mean, you saw I was going through it and like learning. I'm learning about this as I'm reviewing it with you. And I'll tell you that, I don't know how anyone reads this without having the words changed the way I did, because it's so much more enjoyable to read it this way. Otherwise, it's so boring to read it. It's so boring. This makes it so much better. This is such a better read. I'm so glad I did this. And if YouTube has the audacity to try punishing me for this stream or demonetizing me or giving me some sort of penalty, I'm going to be really pissed off. I'm hopeful that I managed to beat their algorithms that figure these things out. Let me see if I went yellow yet. I'm curious if I went yellow. Let's see. Did Joey go yellow? First and foremost, let me see where I'm at on my numbers. I'm at 98,920. 920, just 80 away from 99,000. That's right. 80 away from 99,000 over on YouTube. Just saying, bless you, heal us, sneezy. All right. Yeah, I know. There's a new spell that's coming out. Imperious. They already dropped the Vada Kedavra. They got the Imperious. Vote Biden. I'll vote Biden. That would explain how so many people end up voting for him. So you should ask anyone who like is sitting there shilling for Biden. Ask them if they're Imperious. All right. And then you did the math? Jerk. And you did the math to figure out what the numbers are? Oh, God. I don't have the patience for it. Try figuring it out. And lawyers doing math is never a good combination. I'm going to be landing my plane over here. But I will say this. I am enthused. I'm encouraged to believe that perhaps we might see some retribution, some actual retribution. And I love the fact that they're coming after them based on contract issues. You can't come after them on the EUA for any sort of adverse reactions. But for lying, for misrepresenting, for breach of contract, violating the contract, this Attorney General Kobach, he knows what he's doing. And I think that Voldemort is very afraid. Fortunately, companies should be decimated, and those who are accountable should be hailed before very angry justices. All right, my friends, I'm near the 3-hour mark. I want to wrap this up before I hit that. So I'm going to land my plane relatively quickly. I thank you all for joining me. I thank you all for participating and sharing the love and all that other good stuff. I am going to be wrapping this up pretty quickly. Plane coming down. Thank you. Take care of your loved ones. For all your medical issues, don't trust me. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Don't trust Kobach. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Talk to your doctor or healer. Whoever works for you. Whoever works for you. But one thing they should have is, if you want to know if they're reliable, they probably should have a sign over the door which says, "Don't eat the bugs." Don't eat the bugs. Good night, my friends, and Godspeed.